reflecting on the first one when we relaunched Creative Mornings in January, and I was remembering how like nervous I was. You know, it's like, is Trevor gonna show up? Like, what if I do a bad job? You know, all like the normal things. But then like I was getting ready this morning, and I was like, these are like my people. Like I didn't have that nervousness. It just was like, oh, I get to come back to this safe like place that we've all co-created together. So yeah, round of applause for what we've done all together. Has anyone been to like every single one since January? How does that have? Anyone else? Some? Yeah, Colin has. Couple, so freaking cool. But I know a lot of you have been to so many, and if you are new to the community, welcome. Like we absolutely welcome you with open arms. So glad that you are here. Just a quick shout out and thank you to our sponsors and volunteers that helped make this happen as well. Should we just do this thing?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We're in for a treat, and so I'm not going to give a ton of context. I'm just going to let it rip. How does that sound? We're going to be talking about experience, because I know as creatives, and I know for myself, that building experiences and memorable experiences is everything. And these folks have their hands in coffee, in creating experiences, in branding, and hospitality, and so we're just going to learn from them and have a good time. How does that sound? Good deal. How about you start, Trevor? You kick us off and tell us about who you are a little background, so we have some context to this.
My name is Emily Potter. I work at Dozer Coffee Roast.
Close. Kind of look like me.
Yeah, the same hair. Yeah. No, I'm Trevor Graham. My wife and I own and started Sabbath Coffee Roasters in 2016. We opened up our brick and mortar in 2020. Yeah, I have 3 wonderful children. I like coffee. I like creative things. I'm very chaotic, as you can already tell. Pretty toxic, and I like to have a lot of fun. So that's me.
Toxic. Put it in the hashtag. Okay, I'm Emily Potter. I'm the GM at Dozer Coffee in Ann Arbor. I've worked, okay, thank you. Free samples of coffee in the back. Follow us on Instagram. Thank you so much. I worked in coffee for 5 years. I've been at Dozer for 2 years as of the other day. And that's all I want to say right now.
Hi there, my name is Amelia Eramya. I'm the graphic design and marketing lead at Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. We just opened up our headquarters in Ferndale a little over a year ago. I am so excited to be here and to be in this creative space with you all and talk about all the things that we nerd out together about. But yeah, that's just, you know, I work in coffee branding and I have a lot of fun doing it. One of my biggest things and takeaways is I have to have fun while I'm doing my work, and I'm in the right place to be doing that. Thanks.
Thank you guys. Well, of course I have like a list of questions, but we're gonna, you know, maybe use them, maybe not use them. Yay, friends. I want to know, you just said like what we nerd out on. What do you guys nerd out on, like individually and share? What does that look like?
Definitely coffee.
Okay.
And I think branding is something that like I geek out about in every capacity. Like if I go to a store and I see really cool packaging, I saw like tin fish is like kind of having a resurgence right now. And like the branding on some of these packages is so incredible and so unique. And so I take a lot of inspiration from it, and I also feel very emotional about it most of the time.
Tell me, either of you, any of you, of like your love of coffee. Like, where does that come from? Why coffee? Like, what is it culturally and uniquely to you? What does it mean?
Okay, when I was 5 years old, my grandma started having me drink coffee, and she would put whipped cream on top of it, and then we all learned it doesn't stunt your growth. So write that down. And basically, my first coffee shop job was because I was studying, and you know, I did that thing where you're like, oh, this is so fun to be around. Let me work here, which is fine. Sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I should have just like enjoyed studying or something. But that's how I got into coffee. I'm super grateful I did. And
I was there. I
yeah, you were there, Delaney. Delaney, where'd you go? Yeah, Delaney, yeah. Hired me over here, and now it just didn't stop. still here drinking coffee.
Yeah, so like what I hear you saying that is like it creates this sense of nostalgia, of community, of warmth. What would you add to that, Trevor?
I was 4 when I started drinking coffee with my grandma. So, up your game. Yeah, same thing. Actually, really similar story. It's nostalgia for me. Sitting at the table with my grandma, and then growing up, seeing like and tasting all these variables that come into coffee, whether it's terrier or the variety of coffee or the process. For me, to wrap my brain around that like systematically, I like the mystery of it all. I like hunting things out. Something that I enjoy in my pastime is like creating, like engineering things, figuring out how things piece together. Yeah, so coffee is a big part of that as well. It's just hunting through the mysteries of it all.
How would you say art has played a role not only in the product development process of what you've all created, but also in the atmospheres, like in the coffee shops themselves? What is art? How does art play a role?
I would say like being a designer for a coffee company isn't about just making like fun signs and packaging. It's also about cultivating a space that people feel comfortable and safe in. And also aesthetically pleasing. And so I feel like our Ferndale coffee shop is a good example. Has a very mid-century modern inspiration to the way the space is. And I'm not just thinking about how a sign enhances a space. I'm thinking about like the theory of like cafe flow, like where a customer kind of is guided to go when they enter a cafe. And we've all been to coffee shops where we walk in and we're instantly anxious. We're like, where do we go? What do we do? And so we try to kind of do the opposite of that and guide people and lead them in the right way. We love when we see people walk up to our merchandising shelves and like just take it in and look at it very closely and deeply and look at our signs that are promoting our seasonal specials. And it's fun to see people interact and it have impact on the way that they carry themselves in our spaces. And I think that's like such an important part is making people feel like they're comfortable and welcomed. So that's how I see like art like really influencing not just like branding and design, but also atmosphere and space.
Beautiful. Would you guys add?
I would say I started at Dozer 8 months after we opened, and I kind of inherited our branding. So going into it, I kind of had to make sure I liked it because it would be something I'm representing, and that's representing me. And while it's like not the coziest space, it's kind of industrial if you've ever seen it, but the building is lime green. So you really don't miss it, and you really don't miss me because again I'm tall and loud. So the bags are like all doodly characters and like scribbles and fun and like a little chaotic, but then all of our labels are neon and like bold. And so I've kind of had to like embody that, like even going into wholesale accounts, like I'm not necessarily going into a fine dining restaurant being like, this would look awesome on your shelf, get excited, because that might just not be it. So using like creativity even in that way, based off of our brand, has had to like be something I like learn about and grow in.
Yeah, I think for us, we're a little different because we operate in, our cafe is like 300 square foot. If you guys have ever been inside, it's like a shoebox, and we're to go only. So for us, like when we were designing the flow that you spoke of, and how do you make a to-go cafe comfortable? How do you make a to-go cafe have a flow that's inviting, that's hospitable, that drives home the essence of community? And it boiled down to like being authentic and having a space that authentically represents everyone that's inside of that space. So if you are inside our shop, we have little Easter eggs all over the place. You may see a dinosaur toy tucked away on a shelf. You may see a Yoda figure that one of our production people made out of resin. Like there's little things all over the place. There's also a boomerang. We throw it at each other if we get out of line. But it's like trying to create an authentic piece of yourself inside of the space. And I think the more authentic we are with our brands and put ourselves into it, I think it comes off as a more memorable, inviting experience to those entering. It's like, I always say to our staff, like our bar is our dining room table and everyone is invited. So we're trying to make a home even though you're in and out in under 2 minutes, you know? So I don't know, it's an interesting thing that we had to work through.
Yeah. It's so clear that each of your brands has a story and that you're inviting people, even if they're just interacting digitally with your brands, inviting them into the story, and the right customers are going to want to engage in that story. What advice would you give the rest of us who are creating brands, creating businesses, just creating experiences? How would you tell us to be intentional in creating the stories in the work that we're creating?
Again, I think it's being authentic. Again, something we say all the time, invite people into the chaos. I think every one of us is very overseeing like clean cut, corpo, brain fart, Instagram reels, we're tired of it. What people, you as a user, when you log on for social media, what accounts are you going to? If it's me, it's a meme account, of course, because I need to laugh. But two, you're looking for an adventure. You're looking to consume something that's going to excite something inside of you. And for us, we have stories to tell, and we use our social media platform and our brand to tell the stories of everyone inside of our shop, whether it's chaos, whether it's serious or fun. We like to use it for more fun. I think we try to follow in the footsteps of, we do try to sell our products, but a lot of percentages of our stories that we're telling have literally nothing to do with the product that we're pushing. We're just trying to have fun and make people laugh, and that just comes from me being a person who just likes to watch people laugh and smile. So
I think you've got to give the people what they want, and try to find the balance of being authentic in that and telling your story. And so being conscious of that, and staying true to your style and your personality is really important. And I think you have to actually really like what you're doing, because you can only fake it for so long if you don't believe in the stories that you're telling, or the people that you're working with, or the company or the business that you're representing. And we see people working those kind of jobs all the time, and a lot of the times they might leave that career, that corporate job, and then they find themselves in coffee, or they find themselves in hospitality. And it's because I think we do such a good job of expressing ourselves and showing our personality, and we take care of each other. The whole idea is that you come into this coffee shop, it's part of your routine, it's nostalgic, it gives you fuel, and then you leave happy and in a good mood, because we're just that good at what we do, and it's because we care so much about the impact that has. So you just you have to give them the coffee, but also be cute about it,
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of hospitality talk happening, and it's true, we're a coffee shop, we're a gathering space. If our open sign is on, you don't know who's walking in the door. At that point, anyone's welcome to, so it's such an individual, person-to-person business that, no, you're not always gonna have something for everybody, but you're gonna make sure everybody who walks in feels like there's something for them, even if it's just asking how they are. I think, just like a coffee shop, you are welcoming people into your home, and that might be the first time they leave their house all day, and it's because people crave feeling known and seen and welcomed in this space, and you have maybe 2 minutes to nail that interaction with someone, or maybe an hour or a few hours while they're working and up getting a coffee just to go back. We just have no idea what someone's feeling when they walk in the door. So when you have honest people and good people on your staff my staff know I care more about how our customers are treated than probably anything else, which is sometimes not great, because then if the coffee's not brewed right or something, I'm what are you guys doing? And they're I thought you didn't care. And I'm I still care. But I is and how they feel, which also plays into social media. Like, whenever I go on a trip, I'm looking up accounts about where I want to go. You're looking at how their Instagram looks, because you're like, you already know if you want to go there or not based on that in this world. And then you're wondering, do I already feel like I know who the staff are just through their Instagram account and how I'll be treated when I walk in? If I can't read that on your Instagram, like, I probably won't even try to go, and that's just my reality. Because also in this anxious world, people want to know what to expect when they walk into a social setting. Like, I probably looked at this Instagram yesterday for like 20 minutes just to get the vibe, because I had never been to one before. And I was like, who's showing up? What's going on? How much do I have to socialize? and yeah, I got a good idea about it, and I was able to walk in and like feel more comfortable. So yeah, digital marketing too, like, you're doing the same hospitality before they even get in your doors.
Yeah, and that's the perfect lead way to what I was going to ask next. For us that don't own or work at a hospitality brand, what are like the transferable like tips, tactics that we can incorporate in our own brands that make them more hospitable?
Yeah, go for it. Okay. I think it just goes back to creating community, and that's like a big word, but at the end of the day, I think we all have like an innate sense of hospitality, even if we're introverts or extroverts. There's a part of us that like want to belong. I think humans are naturally like a group of people. They want to be amongst. They want to be welcomed with one another. So in your interactions, I mean, creating, not looking at it as a transactional action. And that's something we talk about at SAPS all the time, especially as like register, like concierge, is like, it's not just a transaction here. Yes, you're getting the order, you're taking the money, but it's more than that. It's establishing like a basis that you see that person as a human, give them a little more value time than maybe they were expecting, and it goes so much beyond that. Because then you start establishing a rapport and possibly a friendship, and I think we need more of that in the world. We say the thing is like we live in the most connected time, but I don't know about anyone else. I feel like we live in the most disconnected time emotionally from everyone. So I like challenge everyone in this room, anytime you have some type of interaction with a new client or maybe a coworker, like go the extra mile, even if it's like outside of the comfort zone, because I think we just need more of that. And I think the world will be better for it, and I think you as an individual will be better for it. I know it at least does that for me. So
I think that building community with you build customer loyalty by taking care of your, the people who are coming in and spending their money at your business. I think like we have so much love to give complete strangers, and in coffee spaces, they're not just customers or family, like they become regulars. You become such an integral part of their day to day. You become friends and you hire them, and then you see them grow and evolve in the coffee community. And,
I was there.
Yes. And like I'm friends with a lot of the regulars that I have, and they actually follow me from coffee shop to coffee shop, because we really want to take care of them and we love them. And this might be a hot take too. I find that hospitality, like the people who work in hospitality in the service industry, we're becoming more tender with our approach. And I think because we're realizing like the state of the world, that at the end of the day, we need to take care of each other. And if that means that I get to have a really positive impact or a funny, silly conversation with you when you come in and get a coffee and you get to leave like kind of feeding off that energy, then I feel like I've succeeded in doing my job. And it wasn't just selling coffee at that point; it was much more than that. And so that would be like, a tactic, I guess, to when you open up a space, you be authentic in the way that you like love and care for people and your customers.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's just like,
Some people are mean though now.
you're so right, and they're in the wrong job. But I think everybody, what it comes down to individually is like, individually as people, like a lot of you probably don't even work face to face with people. I don't know, I made that up. Maybe you all do, and that's why you're here. But if you don't, then you're focused on you as an individual. Like, are you miserable? And that's like being projected onto others who you do interact with, just day to day, even at the grocery store? Or do you need to take a second and look at your life as a hospitality act and make everyone you come across feel welcome just because of who you are? Once you do that, then you can go in any space and make people feel that way. And then once you do that, the people you keep around you will start to realize that and recognize that in themselves too, and maybe realize they need to work on that as well.
Emily, are you like me where I get on a hugging basis with some of my regulars?
I love hugging.
Me too. And you cross that bar barrier and you become more personable. And I think that one of my favorite things is when my regulars and I become like buddies and we hug each other, and it's very fulfilling and very it's very sweet.
You guys hug your regulars?
Yeah.
We just say mean things to our regulars.
We got
Yeah, most of the time I just like throw things at our regulars and tell them to leave.
Perfect.
What?
It's where the individual branding comes in.
Yeah.
So good. I think this is I don't know about you guys, but so refreshing and frankly challenging. As it's like, this conversation is a reminder that business can be done in a conscious and kind way. And it's like, can you imagine a world where the businesses that we all be interacting with were like led with love and still successful? Like, you're still making money. Like, you're still supporting your lives. Like, I think it's just like, in whatever we're all creating, how can we do that even more and incorporate just a little more love, a little more intentionality into all the things that we're creating. So that's what I'm taking away from this so far. So cool. I'm curious, and you were kind of touching on it a little bit, Amelia, but where do you sense the future of hospitality is going? Like, what's going to be required? How are people going to show up, and how are you going to be a part of it?
I think people just want to belong somewhere. I know, like, for Dozer, I'm so lucky because I have so much space there. Like, it's huge, and then we have more space in a warehouse, and then more space in an outside space, like seating and parking, you'll always find it. So for me, like, my own mission in the place is to always have something going on where people can gather just day to day, or like events for people to come to where they know they'll feel safe and welcomed in that space regardless about what I'm putting on. And so, like, I guess as far as the future goes, I don't really know, but what I'm doing now is like always providing a space for people just because I have it to do that with. So like, that might be different from Trevor, who has his shoebox. He can't have like a 300-person event in there. He could try. Wouldn't recommend, but you'll probably do it anyways.
We've gotten 80 people in there before.
Right. I was there.
It was sweaty.
It wasn't awesome, but it was awesome. And yeah, so like for me myself, like that's what I'm doing just because I have the space. Like I might as well utilize it, otherwise it's a waste.
I think like continuing the cultivation of community is really important, and I think making a safe space for people to come and do things in, not just come and buy your coffee. Like at Dessert Oasis, we have a pretty a well thought out educational program, and we started doing latte art classes, and people like loved it. They ate that shit up. Like they were so excited to work on an espresso machine and pour milk and learn how to do latte art. And I know that Emily, who leads our education department, her experience watching our education managers and our community interact with each other that way was so powerful and impactful that we just want to keep doing that. We want to keep creating those spaces and those experiences and have people come in and learn from us too, because we are tired of like the stuffy, like uppity coffee shops that aren't very welcoming, and they scowl, they just kind of like give you a dirty look when you want to add cream to your coffee, and we're not about that life anymore. You drink what you want to drink, and we're here to educate you or just give you a cup of coffee and you're out the door. Like whatever your vibe is, we're here for it.
was thinking about putting cream in my coffee and what it would taste like, honestly. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Do what you want, people. Yeah, I don't think hospitality changes. I was thinking about this question a lot. It was probably the one question that I was like thinking about, and I think I know. Thank you for laughing at that. Hospitality has been around for thousands of years, and I think it stays the same. I just think that like my own cultural sense of the culture that I come from, like Southern hospitality. That my wife is an Italian, so like lots of food and hospitable things happening there. Everyone has to eat when we're together, and I think that it's just up to us to continue cherishing us as people and loving on one another and not allowing the digital culture that can get in the way of us having true interactions and true meaningful relationships to destroy all that. And like, I think if anything, we just have to shift back to remembering that Evan is right there, even though he's holding a cell phone and someone's on the other side. We're not dealing with a cell phone, we're dealing with people. And that's what I hope the world can get back to, is like less digital and more like very intra-community, hyper-focused communal spaces, if that makes sense. Communes.
Yeah. Yes. It makes me think, like, the phrase that just came to mind as you said that was like it sounds cheesy, but like we really can't do anything together. And so it's like, I think so many of us get stuck in our own striving of our own individual paths in this such individualistic culture. And so it's like, man, like if we actually lived like that, if we actually did business like that, we could actually help get each other to where we're trying to go. And so I think you guys are just shining examples of that, and it's so beautiful. I want to open the floor to questions from other people besides me. So who's got a burning question that they want to pass along? Yeah, no, you're good.
Questions.
One, your coffee's delicious.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Lots of good dozer.
Dozer's great.
Yeah.
Thank God.
As your brands grow and expand, what do you look for in locations if you plan to open more coffee shops? What neighborhoods do you look for, and what qualities within neighboring tenants are most important to you, if there are any there? I work in real estate, that's why I asked it.
Trevor, are you opening another coffee shop?
Is it gonna have seating too, so we can stay there and harass you? And throw things back at you?
This question is.
That would be actually, if Sabbath ever opened up a second location, instead of seats, it would actually have a boxing ring inside of it. And if you wanted to pay like an extra $10, you could fight me in the boxing ring. Probably
Do it for free.
Honestly, for free. Let's just go. That's fine.
We actually like each other. I just
we really do.
We're both
very
Aries.
long time friends. That's why we have the same haircut.
Admirable.
Yeah. I want to be like Emily.
Who doesn't?
Obviously, we just have one location. I can tell you, we have been looking for like a production space. And so going through that process is number one, what can I afford, which is not much. Two, how much, how far away from the other location is it? When we're talking about a production space, we want it to be larger than what we have and try to feed the other location. So what does gas look like? What does the distance from our current location look like for our production crew that has to go there? Is it too far away for them to actually make it there? That would suck. That doesn't help me at all or help them at all. So, as far as that, there's geographical things. I think if I were to look at opening up a second location, how saturated is the market. I think coffee is an interesting thing. We were talking about this earlier, oversaturation of coffee. I don't know if there can be an oversaturation of coffee. Just think of one city, and there's probably 14 coffee shops in there, whether it's Corbo or specialty or just this second wave shop that's been there since '91. Central Brook down the street. So for me, I don't know if oversaturation is a thing. Yeah, you want to be conscious of it. For me, I think Sabbath, we have built trust within our community, and that I cherish, and I believe also I'm pretty stubborn, so I just would open up anywhere, honestly. I don't really care about other people's opinions. I just do what I want to do. So if I find a spot, I think it's cool, I'm going to open it. And if I can afford it.
I think if you want to expand, you have to first make sure that you're doing the first spot right. You don't want to overcommit, and it's really important to cultivate that first space, especially if it's a new brand, you want to build that brand recognition and that customer loyalty, and you have to do that first before you even think or consider about expanding into other communities and other spaces. Because you have to be authentic in that approach. You don't want to just step into any neighborhood and just drop your beans and be like, I'm here. And so I think, being thoughtful in that approach, and you guys have cultivated your space for the last several years, and so maybe now is a good time to consider, a bigger space because you guys are growing and whatnot. But I can guarantee you, Trevor wasn't thinking about that the first week of opening. Even though it may have been successful and fun and exciting. You just don't want to jump the gun that way. Desert Oasis just opened up a nearly 9,000 square foot facility, and it's our headquarters. And I think we're good for a little while until that was a pretty big undertaking, and we're still figuring it out, figuring out the flow. But I will say that it already feels like we outgrew that space. And so I guess the only way you can go from here is up. So you just don't go too fast.
I thought you were going to announce the second headquarters today. The 40,000 square foot.
Yeah. I think I don't have I will have a say, and I will have opinions, but I think if I was in that position, the first thing I would think about is how my presence has impacted the neighborhood I'm entering into, both positively and negatively, and that's all I can really say at this time.
Thank you. We have a couple more minutes for questions. Any other ones? That was a great one. Yep. All right. You're next.
Is there any tech that you're using in your day-to-day that you love or hate that makes your job easier, your experience with your customers better?
I hate Toast. I hate Square. I hate it all. The card readers never work.
Tell me why.
If anyone works in here and wants to give me anything, I'll buy it today. Amen.
Was the first part of your question what things do we like and dislike of our day-to-day?
Yeah.
Is that what I didn't hear that fully. I think on the topic of Square and Toast, Shopify is my arch nemesis. It's really hard to make that shit look good, man. It's very e-commerce driven, which is great for us. But I also I had a friend who worked at Shopify, and I told him, I was like, hey, we're migrating from Squarespace to Shopify, and this was before I even really started or finished the project. And his response was, good luck making that look good. And I was like, damn. I was like, this is going to be a challenge. So yeah, I would say that kind of stuff. Or when you do have the angry customer or the unhappy customer, you have the opportunity to turn that around. But sometimes people are just the way they are, and so I am a very sensitive person, and so I will carry that with me for months. That person didn't like me and they didn't smile at me, and so that's something that's a me problem though. So yeah, on the surface level of that.
Shopify is a challenge, yes. I come from a guitar background, so I love gear and I love tech. I'm also, though, a boomer millennial. So what I found is I haven't kept up with technology very well. So I have to pay younger people to work the technology that I buy. But something that we've really started using, we haven't released anything yet, but we have some projects towards the end of the year. We've been using Blender a lot lately to do some 3D renderings and animation. And that's been really fun and exciting and challenging. Creating like 3D objects inside of Blender is really fun. I'm a big 3D printing person as well, so we have some things that we've been working on 3D printing wise with the company. But yeah, I like finding new things, anything on coffee tech wise, anything that eases workflow issues for my team. Love it. I'm a big systems guy. I come from the auto industry. I say that all the time to my staff. So like one of my jobs in the auto industry was creating systems for people at workstations. So I love that. And I love making and developing and engineering spaces and engineering and finding new things that make work go faster. And so my staff isn't crying at the end of the day because they had to manually do all this stuff. And as long as it's consistent and makes the product well, one of our new things. That was awesome. That was awesome. I don't mean to point it out, but that was a great sneeze.
Very graceful.
As a dad who has a dad sneeze, that was a great sneeze. I gotta be honest. And honestly, that's in my time before sure.
Well, okay, as far as technology and digital marketing and graphic design and all of that, as someone who basically has to do everything head to toe at Dozer by myself, I'll tell you what's a hot take. Canva, let's go. Ew, the free version. So like if you're ever looking like, oh, they're doing a great job with Canva. Wow, they're doing, how good is Canva? Okay, from my cell phone, not a laptop.
You're designing
Right.
things on your cell phone?
Yeah, I'm beyond. I'm up here, okay? Get up here with me, designer. But I'm not trying to put any of you out of a job, but I'm just saying, you have to do what you have to do, and that is creativity. So, now don't all try to sell your business to me after this, okay? Like, I'm still working on things, but yeah, that's...
Oh, yeah, Canva's a great tool for small businesses that or people who, because creative, people and creative work is expensive, we're pricey, and it's because we have such impact on, sales, we're, ROI employees, we are creating things that are bringing in profit, and so it's an expensive endeavor. And so if you're a small business, don't spend your money on it until you have that capital. Just learn Canva, or just learn how to build a Squarespace website on your own. Don't be spending that money on it when you're opening.
Okay.
Just as a heads up.
They did that before I got there, thank God, because I wouldn't, now I just use it on everything. But if I could pick someone, I would pick Backtalk for sure. Anyways, shut up. One day when I do have more money somewhere.
Right back here. What is your mindset or approach for designing things for a coffee brand from a utilitarian perspective? Design should be pretty, have a look, be aesthetic, but for a business, many things need a functional purpose, such as the coffee bags over here, the different blends and different color labels. Simple example.
I feel like presenting information in a way that's easy to absorb and to understand is the best approach, especially with things that include type. Designing things with a lot of information is a skill in and of itself. You have to be able to lead the human eye very strategically in absorbing that information. And so you can make it fun, you can make it cute, but you can also approach it in a very strategical way of making sure that they're understanding what they're purchasing, what they're drinking. For example, if it was a coffee bag label, you will see on a lot of coffee bags, the labels and the designs, it'll have where the coffee comes from, the farmer, the producer, the flavor, the tasting notes, and it'll also have the story behind where it was roasted or where what company you're buying it from. And so that's a lot of information to put on something. It could be a small canvas or it could be a large one, but you have to make it work, and you just have to make sure that and I mean this in the nicest way possible, people, you have to just kind of consider that people are kind of dumb sometimes, or they don't understand. Like, you know, they don't absorb things as, you know, easily as you might as a creative, because that's how your brain operates and works. And so you want to make it easy, and you want to make it approachable. And I think that is like, that's like the best way to go about any design work is, who am I designing this for and how are they going to interpret it?
That's a great example of my coffee bags, because I'm the dumb one. Right, you know. I hate reading, okay? I studied social work. It was about feelings. I didn't have to do much else than that. And in coffee, I'm with people. And Toast tells me the change I have to give back to a customer. Thank God. So, with our bags, like they're each a different neon color label, and that's how our customers pick a coffee bag off the wall. Or they say, which one? And I'm like, the pink one, the green one. I'm not gonna tell them the name because then they have to go read and find it, and maybe they can't read, I don't know. And that's fine, but like, that is like we're very simplified in that approach. Like, we're not trying to put all the information out there. If you want it, it's available, ask for it. But I'm not gonna give you I'm not gonna put the producer on the bag or this or that, which is like great information to have, and I wish I was more educated in that. But for like my customers, I know more of what they're looking for and more of like their speed and how they wanna go about our workflow. And they're just trying to grab the purple bag because they know it's deep end and they know it's our dark roast. God forbid I change the color of the label, they're gonna be trying all sorts of different coffees on accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. No, I agree with Emily. It's like, you have to find like what market you're attacking, and try to do it well, and the customer that is interacting with your product. I always like view design as, it's, especially like with the product, it's the visual feast, right? So before we eat, you're served the dish. The dish could taste amazing. If it doesn't look great, are you really excited to try it? Number one. And if it's just like all slopped together, you know, is there like a ton of stuff inside of it? For someone who talks a lot and uses lots of words, my wife does a very good job of reminding me of packaging. Less is more, and we're constantly taking less down, less, more, take it away. And you should see some of, like the first draft of the bio that I sent to this thing, my wife, of course, reads everything. One, she said, this isn't professional. Two, cut half of it out, because it was like 5 pages long. So we had lots of heated discussions about it, and now it's real sterile and bland, and it's fine, but
We see who the real boss is, though.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's one, knowing the market, what do you have to work with? There's like only a set amount of different bag styles that you can really purchase from vendors, unless you want to go hog wild and like make a custom design pouch, which is not feasible for most custom like companies. So you're just using what's out there, trying to make it your own while conveying what you can to entice people to take a leap on your product.
Yeah, you have to guide them in the right direction. And I think when you said you know what your like customer base wants, that's a really important factor too, is knowing like how to guide them and what information they actually do care about. That's a really good approach.
Well, guys, give them a round of applause. Sharing your energy and your joy and your time with us, because yeah, that was beautiful.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you
Of
for having
course,
us.
of course. And thank you all for coming once again. We'll see you in September. So, and we also have some fun pop-ups in Ann Arbor coming up. So be on the lookout for some fun things happening. So we'll see you then. Go make a friend and have a great weekend.